We've been talking about all of the challenges, different things in the energy sector, but the most relevant thing in Pakistan is how to get things done, and that's where the political economy perspective comes in. So I think that's what we're going to talk about uh, for the energy transition. What are the challenges, political economy challenges in the short run and the long run? And the focus is going to be on solutions. So we identify the challenges, and then we sort of brainstorm on what the solution should be. So I'll start with Mohammad Ali Saab. So what are the political economy challenges for an energy transition in Pakistan? And I think just to be very clear, energy transition is, we take that to moving towards net zero. We can also modify that. Should it be moving from foreign to local fuels? Should it be some other sort of a transition? You have the liberty of modifying that definition as well. But so what are those challenges? And what would be the short-term and long-term solutions? So Ali, if you could, based on your experiences, shed some light on that. Do you have a mic?
Thank you, Moin. Thank you, everyone. And salam to Shahid Saab and Nida. In terms of challenges, I think एक तो challenge जो हमारा immediate इसलिए हो गया है कि we have not managed our energy sector properly is the sustainability. हम कोई भी फैसला करने जाते हैं तो sustainability becomes the challenge कि मुल्क के पास पैसे नहीं हैं, हम borrowing पे चल रहे हैं, we are under IMF program and IMF has its own terms and conditions that we have to face. So that's one big challenge from a political economy perspective. Second would be affordability for the consumers. Now the two are overlapping, but थोड़ा सा फर्क इसलिए कि कभी-कभी मुश्किल फैसले जब करने जाते हैं तो initially things become expensive before they get cheaper. Affordability का एक तो ये aspect है. Second aspect जो है वो है political decision making, political interests or reasons, whatever you want to call it, because vote bank का ख्याल करना पड़ता है politicians को. So that's another political economy challenge. Third, जो पाकिस्तान में over the years develop हुआ है, वो the decision making split between the federal government and the provincial government. Now that's a big challenge. जिसके असरात हमें कभी-कभी तो नज़र आते हैं, but अक्सर नज़र नहीं आते हैं. I'll share a few examples. Generally, intent level पे everybody says कि we should move towards renewables and decarbonization and हमारा जो mobility है वो electricity पे चलना चाहिए वगैरह वगैरह. It's all there. But when it comes to the interest or the split of the responsibilities between the federal government and the provincial government, that's where the conflicts arise. For example, जो हमारे power sector के losses हैं, उसकी बहुत बड़ी वजह है चोरी and lack of recovery. अब उसके अंदर सिक्योरिटी जो इदारे हैं हमारे या पुलिस वगैरह या ऑन ग्राउंड सिक्योरिटी उसका बहुत बड़ा हाथ है जो कि प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट देखती है. अब जो नुकसान हो रहा है जिसकी वजह से सर्कुलर डेट बिल्डअप हो रहा है वो पेमेंट सारी फेडरल गवर्नमेंट करता है. एनएफसी के अंदर ये बड़ा अवार्ड के अंदर बड़ा ये अक्सर डिस्कस भी होता है. तो debt is being put on the federal government, whereas the responsibility for the reasons for those debt resides with the provincial government. That's one example. Secondly, जो resources हैं, it's a provincial subject, minerals और बाकी. तो NHP award हमारे यहाँ आज तक sort out नहीं हुआ. KPK कहता है कि जी हमसे आप पानी लेते हैं. आज़ाद कश्मीर यही कहता है. बलूचिस्तान और सिंध से आप गैस लेते हैं, तो वहाँ पर आप गैस सस्ती दें, उधर बिजली सस्ती दें. तो ये जो resources का जो हमने जिस तरीके से हमने structuring की हुई है, decision making या resource allocation versus responsibilities की, that needs to be looked at. That's a big challenge. अभी recently आपने देखा जी आज़ाद कश्मीर में लोग सड़कों पे आ गए थे तो बिजली कम हो गई. KPK के जो चीफ मिनिस्टर हैं उन्होंने भी मीटिंग की है पावर मिनिस्टर और इंटीरियर मिनिस्टर के साथ. तो I would say sustainability for the sector, affordability and political will. And thirdly, the way the decision making of the resource allocation is done between the federal government and the provincial governments. I think these would be the big political economy challenge. I'm not going into technical or other things or financial, but from a political economy perspective, these seem to me like the big challenges.
Great. Thank you, Ali. Nida, अगर यही चीज़ मैं आपसे पूछूं, आपके perspective से, you know, it's a different perspective, right? तो आप आई वापस और आपने encounter किया जो system यहाँ पाकिस्तानी environment encounter की, तो आपको क्या challenges, political economy challenges नज़र आए, और उनसे आपने किस तरह से अभी तक डील किया, और फिर आपकी वो insights क्या आपने discover की कि जी ये इनको किस तरह से डील करना चाहिए?
I would have actually preferred कि मैं बाकी पहले government वालों के views सुन लेती before I come in with my side of things. There are 2-3 things that I've been actively working with policymakers at the back end on, is raising their awareness on, so first of all understanding कि एक आम कंज्यूमर को जो है ना बिजली चाहिए ना गैस चाहिए, ठीक है? Everyone seems to think उनको बिजली और गैस चाहिए और ऑयल चाहिए. They want services. They want this light that you see here. They want the cooling in the room so that they can be comfortable. They want productivity in the industries. They want mobility from point A to point B. They want to communicate with their family and their friends. They want entertainment. They want food, etc. So nobody actually needs energy. Okay, energy is just the fuel being used to run the machines that will give you that service. So the reason this is very important is that, for instance, we received a lot of, while I was on the board of SSGC, we received a lot of pressure from the Sindh government and the federal government कि आप यहाँ पे grid pipeline extend करें और यहाँ पे ये करें वो करें. You were saying extend the grid pipeline to these villages, and we had to subsidize that cost. हर household के लिए आपको 3 लाख रुपए साल के देने पड़ते subsidy के to pay for that grid, whereas the cheapest cost would be for them to give them 2 LPG cylinders per month. बाकी पैसे उनके हाथ में दे दें भाई. They would prefer that compared to. So for me it's very important to lobby with the government for them to understand that there are other solutions. It's not the gas, it's not the bijli, it's not those are just fuels for your machines. That is it. So you have to focus on how will I provide that service to the voters. Okay, so आपको पानी heat करना है वो बिजली से भी हो जाएगा. आगे जाके हम heat pumps की बात करें उसमें 400% efficiencies हो जाएगा. Right? So खाना भी आपका बिजली से पक सकता है, आपके LPG सिलेंडर से पक सकता है, आपकी जो ग्रिड पे गैस आ रही है उससे पक सकता है. So you have to understand the energy does not matter. Okay, it's a service that matters. So make new policies that look at all of that, right? And then the other thing, that is usually step 1 for me when I'm talking to them. And this is what I advise the utilities as well, that when you get this pressure, show the government, okay, if you do the same thing using these 5 different options, this is what the pricing would be. The consumer is going to get the same service, but this is how much capex is going to go in, this is how much opex you will need every year, versus the option that you are trying to force on us. Okay? Sure. So that's usually step 1, and then step 2 is to make them understand how much wastage is happening in every part of the energy flow. So within my organization, we do this pro bono work to take out the energy flow diagram for Pakistan. So the first iteration we did back in 2014 using 2012 data was we had about 83% losses from primary energy all the way till the service, the cooling, etc. that the consumer was getting. Europe 50% efficiency पे था, हम लोग जो है अपनी efficiency 17% दिखा रहे थे, right? Now when we have new numbers where we've actually taken data from the demand side too, we are looking at 90% losses. Okay? So you can quadruple your economy in the current supply of energy. You are not looking at where the low-hanging fruit is, which is the demand side. Okay, so डिमांड साइड पे ऑनेस्टली सिंपलेस्ट थिंग, आप अपने भाई अप्लायंसेस में इकोनो मोड यूज़ कर लेना, गाड़ी में इकोनो मोड यूज़ कर लें, एसी में यूज़ कर लें, आपके टीवी में यूज़ कर लें, यू विल सेव 20 to 50% instantly, just click one button, that is it, right? So most of energy efficiency comes from no cost, low cost solutions. Then you have upgrade your fans, upgrade your fridges, upgrade all of this. So whatever the political economy challenges will be, I personally work in raising this awareness with the policy makers, so they try to come up with different solutions than what they're already stuck in, that's the
बिल्कुल आपने सही कहा कि sometimes the questions that are being asked need to be different, और चीज़ें बदल गई हैं, अप्रोचेस डिफरेंट हैं, और ज़ाहिर है वो न्यू अप्रोचेस को अपनाने की ज़रूरत है, और वो जब करेंगे तो उनसे जो पॉलिटिकल इकॉनमी चैलेंजेस हैं वो भी मुख्तलिफ होंगे. तो अगर इफ़ आई कुड मूव टू इरफान अली साहब, आपके पर्सपेक्टिव से सर, वर्किंग विद इन द ब्यूरोक्रेसी, क्या आपने इनकाउंटर किए पॉलिटिकल इकॉनमी चैलेंजेस इन योर वर्क, और आपके ख्याल में क्या सॉल्यूशंस हैं उनके, किस तरह से ये काम आगे बढ़ सकता है जो एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन का है? वी हैव टू कीप आवर फोकस ऑन कि जी टारगेट क्या है, एंड हम एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन करना चाह रहे हैं, शॉर्ट टर्म में, लॉन्ग टर्म में हमें करना क्या चाहिए? तो आपका क्या एक्सपीरियंस रहा है, क्या पॉलिटिकल इकॉनमी चैलेंज रहे हैं और किस तरह से आपने उनको डील किया?
सबसे पहले तो मैं तमाम फेलो पैनलिस्ट्स को ग्रीट करना चाहूँगा, खास तौर पे मोहम्मद अली साहब और शाहिद खाकान अब्बासी साहिब, इन दोनों ऑनरेबल हजरात के साथ हमें काम करने का भी मौका मिला. I was secretary power division for about 2 years, और इस अरसे में जो बड़े बड़े चैलेंजेस, इश्यूज मुझे नजर आए वो आज भी मौजूद हैं. सबसे बड़ा इशू जो नजर, और इससे पहले कि मैं इशू पे बात करूं, मैं ये जरूर कहूंगा कि पावर सेक्टर एक मल्टी डिमेंशनल सेक्टर है, और इसके बारे में मुख्तलिफ लोगों के पर्सपेक्टिव्स हैं वो भी बहुत वेरीड है. हम जब लोगों को बात करते सुनते हैं टीवी में भी और मुबाहिसों में भी, तो एक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू प्राइवेट सेक्टर का होता है, एक पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू आम कंज्यूमर का होता है, और पॉलिसी मेकर्स का भी पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है. इसमें जरूरी नहीं कि हमेशा ममासलत हो. हमने आज हम जिधर खड़े हैं, सबसे बड़ा इशू जो लोगों के लिए बन गया वो अफोर्डेबिलिटी का इशू बन गया. देखिए, इस वक्त मेरी मालूमात के मुताबिक आपके पास 42,000 मेगावाट की इंस्टॉल्ड कैपेसिटी है बिजली प्रोड्यूस करने की मुख्तलिफ जराए से, शायद इससे भी ज्यादा हो, और आपके पास ट्रांसमिशन कैपेसिटी यकीनन उससे कम है. लेकिन इस वक्त जो बिजली का रेट है, या बिजली की जो पर यूनिट जो हम इस वक्त वसूल कर रहे हैं लोगों से या बिलिंग कर रहे हैं, वो आप सब इस बात से मुत्तफिक हैं कि बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ गई है. इसके अंदर मुख्तलिफ रीजंस हैं. इसके अंदर फ्यूल के कॉस्ट और डॉलर की प्राइसेस, ये सारी चीजें उसके अंदर हैं. When I was Secretary Power Division, हमने जो पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी के हवाले से देखा, तो आपकी जो जनरेशन है वो आपने चेंज की थी 1990 की दिहाई में, जिसमें आप प्राइवेट सेक्टर को ले आए और आईपीपीज इंट्रोड्यूस किया. आज उसके ऊपर बहुत सारी बात होती है, बहुत सारे लोग आईपीपीज के हवाले से बहुत सारे एतराजात उठाते हैं, और जो मुआहदे हुए हैं उनके ऊपर भी एतराजात उठाए जाते हैं. لیکن جس سٹیج پہ ہم یہ کام کر رہے تھے ہم نے محسوس کیا اب ضروری ہے کہ جتنی ہماری پاور سیکٹر میں ڈیمانڈ ہے اس کے مطابق ہم اور بجلی کا اضافہ کریں، اندھا دھند اضافہ نہ کریں. اور اس حوالے سے محمد علی would know about it، وہ آئی جی سیپ نام کا پروپوزل فلوٹ کیا گیا، اس میں سالانہ ڈیمانڈ کے مطابق ٹرانزیشن اور ٹرانسمیشن کیپیسٹی کے مطابق بجلی کا اضافہ ہونا تھا، تاکہ ہم غیر ضروری طور پر بہت ساری بجلی اپنے اوپر بجلی کی جو جنریشن ہے وہ بہت زیادہ بڑھا نہ لیں. قسمتی سے اس میں there are problems، اس کے اندر صوبوں کے حوالے سے بھی پرابلمز آتی ہیں اور پرائیویٹ سیکٹر اور انویسٹرز کے حوالے سے بھی پرابلمز آتی ہیں، بیکاز پاکستان کا جو ایک سٹرکچر ہے پاور کا اس کے اندر سنگل بائر ہے، گورنمنٹ ہے، اور وہ گارنٹی دیتی ہے ہر مطلب کیپیسٹی پیمنٹ کی بھی اور سوورن گارنٹیز دی ہوئی ہیں. تو people who like to invest in this sector stand to make good profits. اور یہ جو آئی جی سیپ کا منصوبہ ہم لائے اس کے اندر یہی ڈیفیکلٹی صوبوں کی طرف سے بھی آ رہی تھی. ڈسٹریبیوشن ٹرانسمیشن سائٹ پہ اگین آپ اتنی ساری انسٹالڈ کیپیسٹی لا چکے ہیں، لیکن آپ کے پاس اس وقت بھی مطلب جب ہم نے کام شروع کیا تھا تو 18,000 میگا واٹ کی ٹرانسمیشن کیپیسٹی، ہم اس کو بڑھا کے 26 سے 27,000 میگا واٹ لے گئے. میرا خیال ہے یہ ادھر ہی کھڑی ہے. دس از اے بگ کانٹرڈکشن. اسی چیز ہے ڈسٹریبیوشن. ڈسٹریبیوشن میں ہر ڈسکو یا ہر ڈسٹریبیوشن کمپنی اپنے ایشوز ہیں اور اپنا ایک کلچرل بیک گراؤنڈ ہے ان ایشوز کا. ایک کامن فیچر ہے، کسی میں کم کسی میں زیادہ، وہ بجلی چوری کا ہے، جو اگین آپ کے سرکولر ڈیٹ میں اضافے کا ایک بڑا باعث بنتی ہے. بجلی چوری کے اندر کرپشن کا ایلیمنٹ بھی ہے اور پولیٹیکل ایلیمنٹ بھی ہے. مثلاً اے پی میں ایک سیاستدانوں نے ایک سٹیج پہ یہ بات کی کہ کیونکہ کے پی نیٹ ہائیڈل پروفٹ نہیں مل رہا صحیح طرح سے، اور کے پی پروڈیوسز ہیوج اماؤنٹ آف ہائیڈل الیکٹریسٹی، تو ہمارا حق ہے کہ ہم بجلی اس طرح سے حاصل کریں. تو پیسکو میں خاص طور پہ کچھ علاقوں میں، اس میں پشاور ڈویژن اور ڈی آئی خان اور کوہاٹ، ان علاقوں میں چوری جو تھی بہت زیادہ بڑھ گئی. پنجاب میں بھی چوری ہے. پنجاب میں چوری ٹیکنیکلی زیادہ ہڈن ہوتی ہے، صوبہ سرحد اور سندھ میں سیدھا سیدھا کنڈا لگایا جاتا. اگین کرپشن کا ایلیمنٹ بہت بڑا ہے. تو what we tried to do was we tried to handle this issue of electricity theft. اس کے اندر چند چیزیں سمپل تھی. پولیٹیکل اکانومی کے حوالے سے 3 پرنسپلز میں سمجھتا ہوں بہت اہم ہیں. پہلی بات رول آف میرٹ. تو ایک عام بات ہے، سیاسی پوسٹنگز، ٹرانسفرز، سیاسی بورڈز، they have to be avoided, and we did avoid them for a certain period of time. Secondly, rule of law. قانون سب کے لیے برابر ہے، کوئی حکومت میں ہو کوئی حکومت سے باہر ہو. And we were able to do that for a certain time. And we were able to bring down flow of circular debt from 45 billion per month to almost 12 to 14 billion per month by February 2020.
Thank you,
But again, this required political support and will. تو میں سمجھتا ہوں کہ پھر ایک بات محمد علی نے کی which is net tidal profit. صوبوں اور وفاق کا آپس میں मुख्तलिफ चीज़ों पे तसादुम। तो आपके दो सूबे हैं केपी और पंजाब के नेट हाइडल प्रॉफिट के रेसिपिएंट्स, मगर 40 सालों में हमने अभी तक नेट हाइडल प्रॉफिट का कोई एक जो फॉर्मूला है उस पे सारे लोग मुत्तफिक नहीं हो सकते।
एक इतना बड़ा इशू है हमारा, वो है एनर्जी सेक्टर की वायबिलिटी, और हम बात करना चाह रहे हैं ट्रांजिशन की, एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन की, लेकिन इतना बड़ा इशू वायबिलिटी का है कि वो हर वक्त बात जो है वो वायबिलिटी की तरफ चली जाती है। तो एक तो मैं एक ये क्वेश्चन पोस्ट करूँगा कि हम किस तरह एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन की बात करें जब सेक्टर वायबल ही नहीं है। तो एक ये दूसरा ये सवाल कि जी एनर्जी का सोचना या पेट्रोलियम और पावर का सोचना किस तरह, ठीक है हम फोकस पेट्रोलियम और फ्यूल और पावर पे ज़रूर होना चाहिए, लेकिन ओवरऑल जब तक हम एनर्जी का नहीं सोचेंगे तो किस तरह हम इसको देख सकेंगे। तो शायद खाकान अब्बासी साहब आपकी तरफ आते हैं कि ये किस तरह से हम बात करें और किस तरह से इस टफ ये जो हमारा सेक्टर है जो कि वायबिलिटी का बड़ा इशू है, किस तरह से एनर्जी ट्रांजिशन की बात करें और पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी की बात करें।
Thank you. I think the real question is what do you want to do? That's the first question we have to answer. Or agar aap, if you want to go back in time and see what happened, what is the cause? There's only one cause, which is incompetence. We did not take the right decisions. In fact, we didn't take any decisions. That's why we are where we are. You go to the government, aap bhi sab baithe hain, tell me what is circular debt? What exactly is circular debt? I've been at the highest level of this government. I've seen chiefs of discos. We all talk of circular debt. Even the chiefs of discos don't know what is circular debt. It's very simple. I'm a disco. Whoever owns the power in the country, which varies from time to time, at one time NTDC owned all the power in Pakistan, right? Today it is the CPPA or CPPAG, changes name also. So CPPA gives me, let's say 100 units of power at X amount of price, which is determined by NEPRA. So I repay them for only 30, 40 or 50 units. The rest I don't. That is circular debt.
बिल आपने पे नहीं किया ना अपना फुल।
Bill is later. I am CPPA, I give
wholesale level.
You're a disco, I give you power. You don't repay me. Right? That's a circular debt. The biggest misnomer here is it's not circular. Circular is if we, four of us, owe money to each other, eventually it zeroes out, evens out. Here it doesn't even out. It's a pure debt. It's a pure loss. So where does it go? Where is it? All your public sector energy companies are bankrupt today. In the gas and the oil sector. OGDC, PPL, Sui Northern, Sui Southern, PSO. In fact, I once suggested we should give them banking licenses because they've loaned out so much money to the government of Pakistan, much more than many banks. PSO is almost 900 billion rupees today, which they borrow from the banks at 24%. So we must understand what the issue is. So the fix is in the discourse, fix the discourse. Get rid of this problem. What is the issue with discourse? Management. They're all multi-billion dollar companies. They deal with multi-billion dollars of revenues and costs. Who's managing them? Please go take a look. I mean, these guys were good engineers. They still are good engineers. But they never had management training. They could never make the transition, and that's the real transition you need to make. From being a line professional to a management professional. The other transition we have to make is from being an owner to a regulator. Both the transitions we have failed. And that is why we are where we are today. And we keep looking for excuses. Our latest excuse is the IPP. So look at the breakdown of the IPPs. I think last year we paid about 2,000 billion in capacity payments, right? So when you look at that number, you think, yeah, that's where the problem is, but that's not where the problem is. That's just an excuse. So a quarter of that is nuclear. We are talking about transition of energy. The transition is basically a transition from CapEx, from OpEx to CapEx. You want green energy, you want sustainable energy, it's just you have to invest a lot of money. And the benefits will come later when you don't have a fuel cost. That's the bottom line of the whole transition. So quarter is nuclear, another quarter is hydel. Is this good or bad? I don't know. I think it's good. So those are good capacity payments. Wind is sustainable energy, but wind is about 200 billion a year because we put out a tariff which was the need of that period of time, but now it's a very high tariff. But people have invested, so you have to pay that number. Solar is another 50, 80 billion. You look at the fossil fuel plants the government owns, that's another 150 billion or so. So at the end of the day, you realize that there's nothing left. So IPPs are not your problem. What is IPP? Let's go back. IPP is, we gave them a power purchase agreement, we gave them implementation agreement, and we said sign on the bottom line, don't even change a full stop or a comma. And then we gave them the tariff also. So how are they your problem now? That's a sovereign promise you made to people that if you invest in Pakistan, we will determine the tariff. The tariff had an 18% rate of return in it. I don't agree with that rate of return, but that's what the government of Pakistan agreed to provide that rate of return. And now, 10, 15, 20 years later, you want to back off? Who will invest in Pakistan in the future? You made a bad promise, you have to live up to that promise. But that's not your problem. That's not really your problem. You really want to compare the IPPs? Look at the scenario where the IPPs were not there. Even with whatever we have today, with the fossil fuel plants, the capacity charge is less than 1/3 the fuel charge. The issue is the fuel charge. If putting in additional capacity by paying the capacity charge saves you enough fuel, and the 3 old plants, Habko, Jamshoro and Muzaffargarh, if they had been operating, you'd have a much bigger problem today. So we have to compare. So let me so please, we have to understand the issue before we make that transition. We tried last year, last year I think, to go to big solar plants and shut off the fossil fuel plants when the sun was shining and all that. So NEPRA gave us a tariff of 3.41 cents. The market was talking 4.5 cents. This is a reference tariff. I kept telling NEPRA there's a difference between reference tariff and upfront tariff. NEPRA does not understand that. So we have a regulator which does not understand the business. So they gave a very low, a reference tariff is a cap. Upfront tariff is a yes or no decision. So again, I come back to my original submission, with due respect, incompetence. Fix the incompetence, you'll fix the other issues.
ठीक है जी, well noted. Sir ji, Ali, coming to you, attempting once more कि जी थोड़ा energy transition पे focus हमारा आए ज़्यादा आए. Viability तो है ही, overwhelming issues हैं. Obviously, there are lot of things. और in fact, अगर जैसे discourse की बात करें तो we can have a whole discussion on the privatization کس طرح کرنی چاہیے, سیکولر ڈیٹ کی بھی الگ ہو سکتی ہے. لیکن یہ جو نیٹ زیرو کی طرف اگر جانا چاہیں تو ایک یہ جو کانورسیشن ہوتی ہے کہ جی ابھی تو پاکستان has to, emissions have to peak, emissions will keep rising, and because ہم اس پوائنٹ پہ آئے نہیں ہیں کہ ہم emissions جو ہیں وہ ڈکلائننگ پہ ہم فوکس کریں, بھی تو ہمیں ڈیولپ کرنا ہے. اور کول از انڈیجنس کول ہے ہمارا, دیٹس اے مین لوکل فیول. تو یہ جو ایکویژن ہے یا بیلنس ہے, کس طرح اس کے بارے میں سوچیں, اور اس کی پولیٹیکل اکانومی کیا ہے, کس طرح اس کے بارے میں سوچیں, کس طرح اس کو اپروچ کریں when thinking about energy transition.
Acha, first I'll touch upon the emission wala point ke it will go up, and acha, I don't think our emissions have to go up before they come down. I don't think that has to happen, because is waqt hamari although in terms of the global emission we are less than 1%, although in terms of energy consumption per capita we are among the lowest in the world, لیکن emissions اس وقت بڑھتے اگر ہمارا انڈسٹریلائزیشن بہت ہو رہی ہوتی ہے, جو کہ ابھی نہیں ہو رہی ہے, اور ہوگی بھی تو اٹ ول بی گریجول. ابھی اگلے فار دا نیکسٹ 3-4 years اٹ ڈزنٹ سیم کہ وی ول ہیو میسو انڈسٹریل گروتھ. اٹ ول بی دیئر بٹ وونٹ بی دیئر. سو وی ڈونٹ necessarily have to see emission میں growth before it comes down, and I'll just explain why. Second point I want to touch upon the viability of the sector. Globally what happens is when the supply is going up, the demand is also going up. Now in our case 2 or 3 things happened. Supply went up in bursts. For example, we saw a period of load shedding. So there was load shedding, so come on, let's put up a number of plants. So we put up a number of plants, and then we had suddenly excess supply. Even today, although we talk about excess supply, but there's load shedding also happening. So viability ke liye it's important that the demand also increases, because we are paying capacity payments, jaise Shah Sahab ne kaha, but we are not buying power from all of those. So if we were to buy power from all the IPPs and all the plants, then the per unit cost will be less. Right now, the paying consumer is paying a higher rate because of 2 reasons. Number one, a lot of capacity is not utilized. And secondly, there are a lot of people who are either stealing electricity or not paying for that. So we need to fix that. Another reason why the viability is a problem is the transmission constraints. So we have excess supply in south, but excess demand in north. So these are the issues that we need to fix. And because Pakistan is still on a per capita basis is very low. For example, as per World Bank, 20% of the people in the country do not have access to electricity, or they are on weak grid. So there is a lot of demand which can be met. So viability can be answered. I'll now come to the energy transition and the net zero, and that is linked with the solutions, because we have to now move towards that. I think in terms of solutions, if we go into very granular detail, then there'll be a very long list of action items, so that we can't cover. I think we have to start from the systemic issues. 2 or 3 big issues that we need to start talking about. Number one, privatization. Privatization of discos or long-term concession of discos that we were talking about. Because this demand supply mismatch that I just talked about, it happened because government was doing the planning function. The market was not. When the market does the planning function, for example in cement or textile or whatever, the private sector determines. So when we do privatization and the government comes out of this business of doing business, at the same time we will have a competitive market hopefully, and the market forces will determine. So when that happens, you will not see these ups and downs, and you will also be able to address the seasonality factor which we are seeing, summer versus winter. So I think privatization is one of the steps that we need to take, which will help us move towards solution. And the second, I think we need to move over towards a unified structure, and you also touched upon it, because Previously, we were looking at fuels separately and the power separately. Like oil and gas was looked at separately. We were looking at in terms of fuel. And power was looked at separately. That's why the two divisions were there. But now it's all one and the same, because mobility is electrified, space heating, space cooling, water heating, cooking, it's all electrified. So we need a unified structure whereby one ministry looks at the whole thing. For example, we have made some big mistakes in the past. Pakistan used to have massive production of furnace oil. Massive use of furnace oil. We put up our IPPs based on furnace oil. And suddenly the power ministry changed the energy mix. We moved away from furnace oil, we put up LNG and imported coal plants. Third coal was not utilized. So this decision making is flawed because we are looking at things in silos. So I think we need to have a unified structure in terms of regulator as well as the ministry. Thirdly, I think, so privatization, unified structure. Third thing is, I think we need to look at how we are performing our planning function and who is responsible for that. I have recently come out of it. Shahid Saab has a lot more experience than any of us. The Ministry of Energy, Power Division and Petroleum Division, they do not have the planning capacity. We have Planning Commission where more than 200 economists or officers are sitting. We have Ministry of Planning, it's their job to do this. So the planning function versus the execution function needs to be separated. In terms of moving to net zero, Pakistan, we import roughly, we import roughly $15 to $17 billion of energy, of fuels. A big chunk of that is oil, and 75% of that is going into transportation. So if we want to move towards net zero, we need to think about mobility. We need to think about public transport. We sell annually around 1.8 million two-wheelers. Now to replace those will take a long time. If we have public transport which is running on electricity, then automatically we will be using the grid to supply electricity to them. So we need to do the planning function better once you have a unified structure, once you have capacity, just an incompetence, if you have the right capacity. For example, in the Ministry of Energy, we are handling circular debt. We don't have a single finance expert. We don't have energy economists. So that capacity building also has to happen. And there has to be a very concerted effort towards electrifying our mobility, because that will save us huge dollars. At the same time, in terms of conservation, you have to replace your fans and appliances and tube wells. $2.5 billion of diesel we import every year. And that is going into running our 1 million tube wells. They can all be solarized. And the payback is 5 years. The funding is available. We import $1 billion we spend in running our power plants on the fuel just because we have inefficient fans. So these are the things that we need to do. So your planning function, your unified structure, market-based system, these are the steps that we need to take. And in terms of political economy, they can all be taken care of. The governments can do it. There won't be much resistance to it.
Thank you, Ali. Nida, so, thinking about net zero, can we afford to focus on it? Basically, we are on the receiving end of climate change disasters. How should we approach it? And also, if we do nothing, if we say we are just less than 1% contributor to emissions, eventually we will become a big contributor. So this is maybe for the future, we're thinking of the future generations.
Yeah.
So how should we think about this? And then I think in 3-4 minutes we need to open it up for questions.
Sure.
So just final comments.
So honestly speaking, I am very bullish on net zero for Pakistan. I'm glad कि शाहिद साहब ने खुद ही incompetence का word ले आए. So I don't have to say it here. But reality is this, that because of the inefficiencies of government-run utilities and incompetence of again, policy making in terms of what priorities are given to which sector, etc., people are already transitioning. I think in this entire talk, we have talked less about energy transition as what it means, rather than sort of, we focus more on the challenges rather than what energy transition actually means. So I am bullish that Pakistan can reach net zero by 2040, honestly speaking. 2050 to dur ki baat hai. We can reach it by 2040 if the government gets out of the way. Okay? If we look at what net zero means, okay, let's get to net zero and look at what that means. At that point in time, government or even utilities are going to have a minimal role, right? I mean, we are going to have rooftop solars. Even when we're talking about where the grid really needs to exist, those are heavily urbanized centers where you have 100-story skyscrapers, right? In those cases, of course, you don't have enough rooftop to have, you know, electricity needs met for everyone in that building. So in those sort of scenarios, so I'm on the UN Council of Engineers for the Energy Transition. So there they focus a lot on still having utilities because they're talking about urban centers like New York. Okay, but when we have urban centers like Karachi, where a lot of the population is in single-story or double-story housing, and you have access to such areas, you don't need such massive roles for utilities, right? So if you look at that point in time, utilities or whether government-owned or private sector are going to have a minimum role, and people are going to be meeting their energy needs through their rooftop solar, whether it is for their cars, for their cooking, for their heating, or for all the services that electricity already provides. They will have much cheaper batteries at that point in time, right? So the point is, right now, all the political economy challenges for the energy transition we talk about is because of the incompetence of the government. Right? It's because of the incompetence of current policies and current utilities. That has nothing to do with the transition to net zero. That's already happening through the private sector because they don't have access to electricity and gas, so they're forced to transition. Right? When you look at how quickly solar rooftop installations are increasing every year, if you go talk to any solar company, they're doubling or tripling their sales every year. And I'm talking about an installation, not in Pak rupees, right? So the point is that transition is already happening because the need is there. It's happening faster here than in other countries because we don't have reliable access to energy, right? So honestly, everything that we are talking about right now is not an issue 20 years from now. And it's unfair to ask the citizens to pay for that incompetence or to tell us that we need to stop transitioning to pay for the government's incompetencies. Right? Bar-bar ye hota hai ki rich people are doing it and they're taking the supply away from the grid and now electricity is more expensive for the rest of them. That is not the rich people's fault. That is not the middle class or the commercial or industrial customers' fault that they're transitioning. You force them to transition, right? So honestly, I don't think there's a challenge. And the only challenge is how to keep the utilities still making some money. That's not our problem as consumers.
And I think it's important to make a distinction between the energy transition on an individual level and the energy transition on a systemic level. So I think definitely on the individual level, it's happening, like an avalanche. It's unstoppable. So I think we can go to questions now. So yes.
I have two questions. एक तो ये कि नेट मीटरिंग पे गवर्नमेंट को बहुत ज़्यादा क्रिटिसिज्म करते हैं कि ये सोलर पे टैक्स लगा रहे हैं, लेकिन क्या ये गवर्नमेंट का हक नहीं है, एक गरीब मुल्क की गवर्नमेंट का, कि वो ये कह सकें कि आप बिजली बना रहे हैं, we don't need that. आपने लिए बनाए दिन में, but उसको जो हमारे जो ग्रिड है हमारी मुल्क का, उसमें हमें नहीं चाहिए, या हमें अपने रेट पे वो खरीदेंगे हम. तो क्या ये गवर्नमेंट का हक नहीं है ये कहने का? Second question is that if we have identified all the people who are responsible for the power theft and who are, for example, not paying the taxes, जो अब ड्राइव चल रही है, So do we have enough manpower in our police force or law enforcement agencies to go after those people? اتنی ہماری capacity ہے ہمارے ملک میں؟
دیکھیں پہلی بات جو آپ نے کی ہے کہ دی سولر تھنگ, the whole world is incentivizing solar. So when if I add even a kilowatt of solar, I'm greening the energy production in Pakistan. Because hopefully 1 kilowatt of fossil fuel generation will shut down, at least for that period of time. So if you start disincentivizing something, it will not work very well. And we need to understand that the cost of the power today has basically everything to do with the rupee-dollar parity. Nothing else has changed. The only change is rupee-dollar parity, because unfortunately for us, the power capacity charge, the investment is in dollars and the fuel is in dollars. Although our Pakistan is in from an energy transition point of view in a fairly good situation, because we have a large amount of generation from hydel and a lot from nuclear. So, and then we have some solar and some wind. So if you add those up, and the other issue with the power is that we were using up about producing 90 billion kilowatt hours. We went up to 140, back down to 110. So there's a decrease in the demand also. So out of those 110, I think about half of them today are green units. They come from nuclear and the other sustainable sources. Another large chunk comes from greener fuel, which is gas. So we are a fairly responsible world citizen. We really don't have to worry. I mean, we should worry, we should start doing more. And this is something that Pakistan needs to advocate, and other countries also. At the COP, and this is basically the discussion at the COP, is the poorer countries, the developing countries, we talk of an equitable solution. The energy producers talk of a just solution, because energy transition means the economy transition for them, because their economy is now shift from fuel supply to something else. So so if we are not contributing, our per capita responsibility, then I think the world has to pay for what happens in Pakistan. So if Pakistan wants to generate solar based, and today it will cost you about 5 cents. Let's not live we live in delusion. So because of country risk, the cost of foreign investment in solar in Pakistan is 5 cents. They'll pay you 5 cents. If you pay them 5 cents for every kilowatt hour that you generate, people will invest here. The same investment in UAE is less than 2 cents now. So we must be cognizant of these things, and the world must find an equitable solution to this. Otherwise, all these targets that they've set will not be met, because the developing countries simply cannot afford that amount of capital. Either you provide cheaper capital, or you pick up the country risk, or you do something about that. So if people are putting in solar, please incentivize them. This concept that the rich people are benefiting, I'm sure they're benefiting because they can afford the capital. Again, it's a capital investment. If they are benefiting, are you benefiting as a government also or not? Look at it from that point of view. Don't look at, in karobar mein kehte hain uski jeb ko mat dekhe, apni jeb ko dekhe. If the government is benefiting, let people put it up. Why are you disincentivizing it? If net metering, and you're absolutely right, we should not be doing net metering 1-to-1. I think that formula has already changed, but if it's not changed, you need to change it. So have a fixed rate for every unit you buy, or something like that. So it's not a net, not netted off from my bill. I pay, let's say, a 50% of a discount to the government. So something like that. So you need to have innovative solutions. Again, unfortunately, because of the environment, the operating environment in our government with NAB and all this stuff, innovation has gone out the window. When innovation goes out the window, efficiency goes out the window. So again, I come back to glad Nida also picked it up. It's basically incompetence, driven by a lot of factors. You got to fix them.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, sir.
please introduce and to whom you're asking,
Yeah.
please.
So my name is Khurram Khan. I'm from Siemens, Pakistan. So my question is from Mohammad Ali Saab. Mohammad sir, you gave a lot of solutions about privatization and a lot of issues that are there and the solutions that are there. We have been hearing these about them for the last 20 years or so. And so when I was maybe young, this privatization was on the block, and even today we talk about solutions. So maybe solutions are very well known, but none of them get implemented. I mean, you are policy maker sitting here, Shahid Saab, I remember the LNG piece that he faced. So where do we go from here? We have a lot of talk, but nothing comes out of it. Privatization, yes, but 20 years and we're still talking about it. So,
ये थोड़ी लंबी बहस हो जाएगी क्योंकि इसके जो रूट कॉज है देखें वो तो है ये दुनिया कुछ भी नहीं थी आज से कोई हज़ारों या मिलियंस ऑफ ईयर्स अगो इंसानों ने बनाई ना तो जब तक इंसान ही डिसीजन मेकिंग पोजीशंस पे ठीक नहीं होंगे तो कुछ नहीं होगा अब इंसान ठीक कैसे आएंगे तो वो तो हम चले जाएंगे सियासत में जो शाहिद साहब का फोटे है तो वो किस तरीके से होगा फिर हमारे बाकी सिस्टम्स आ जाएंगे लेकिन आई थिंक कभी कभी एक वो डिले की भी एक लिमिट होती है एंड देन वी कंट्रीज ऑल्सो रीच अ पॉइंट वेयर दे आर अगेंस्ट द वॉल तो आज की तारीख में हम उस दहाने पर पहुंच चुके हैं अगर नहीं पहुंचे तो पहुंच जाएंगे अनफॉर्चुनेटली तो ये फैसले करने ही पड़ेंगे एक रियलाइजेशन भी आ गई है सिस्टम के अंदर कि गवर्नमेंट अब ये काम नहीं कर सकती है और जैसे मैंने अभी यूनिफाइड मिनिस्ट्री की बात की इसके ऊपर भी थोड़ी बहुत बातें शुरू हो गई जब एक बात शुरू होती है तो फिर वो सिस्टम में आ जाती है अनफॉर्चुनेटली प्लानिंग की जो मैंने बात की कैपेसिटी की बात की ये हमने रिपोर्ट जो बनाई थी उस वक्त रिपोर्ट में एक चैप्टर डाला है कि पावर मिनिस्ट्री जो है पेट्रोलियम एनर्जी मिनिस्ट्री शुड बी डिक्लेयर्ड एज ए टेक्निकल मिनिस्ट्री वहाँ पर वो ब्यूरोक्रेट्स जो कि जर्नलिस्ट हैं वो नहीं कर सकते काम उन्हें नहीं पता और अभी तक वो नहीं हुआ 4-5 साल हो गए तो आई थिंक कि ये तो वक्त के साथ साथ जैसे मजबूरी हो या कोई अच्छे लोग आएँ सिस्टम में कॉन्वर्सेशंस हो पुश हो तो चीज़ें होती हैं बट आई वुडंट लूज होप
देखिए प्राइवेटाइजेशन द ओनली सोल्यूशन टू द पावर सिस्टम इज प्राइवेटाइजेशन बिकॉज इट्स द इशू इज द डिस्कोर्स यू टू गेट रिड ऑफ द डिस्कोर्स दिस इज द वन वे टू फिक्स इट गिव द डिस्कोर्स टू द provincial governments here are your discourse here and the gas utilities also that work was also done but there is a problem. The problem is we measure everything in real estate. That's the problem in Pakistan. उसके तो जी दफ्तर हैं वो तो माल रोड पे हैं जी ISCO के लेस्को के तो वो तो अरबों में है जी यार कीप योर रियल एस्टेट अपने पास रख लें यार वो मत दें उसको सिस्टम दें लीज आउट द सिस्टम टू देम एंड you can't sell it because you have nothing to sell. You're selling a loss making unit. What do? So quantify your loss for the last 1 year, 2 year, 5, whatever period you want. And tell him we'll pay you. This disco lost 50 billion rupees, we'll pay you 40 billion and we on a sliding scale. In 10 years we'll go to zero. But then NAB will get you. वो सेक्रेटरी साहब जेल में बैठे होंगे मिनिस्टर साहब भी So how do you do it? ये PIA privatization हो रही है. I know a little bit about this sector. So I looked at, that's the financials of PIA, the publicly available. There's a $200 million hole there, which is not visible. It's only visible to people in the industry. So what are you selling in PIA? If you want to give me PIA, give me $200 million also. I'll take that headache off your books, whatever it's 100 billion a year or 200 billion. But I mean, I won't take the $200 million hole in it. So, you have to have an innovative method, but again, innovation is inhibited by the environment people are operating in.
Assalamu alaikum. I've got 2 questions. First of all, my name is Salim Anwar. I work for Atak Gen Limited, which is an RFO IVP from the O2 policy. One question is to Khakan Saab and the other one's to Mr. Muhammad Ali. First, I know, Shahid Saab, you were involved in the act of creating MOE, right? The merger of Ministry of Energy, having the petroleum and power sectors working closely together. do you perceive, or do you think there's any advantage doing the same with the regulators? And what should that look like if the answer is yes, they should merge? And the second question to Mohammad Ali Saab is, and this is not, I'm not saying this in my official capacity of where I work, but we recently went through a 600 megawatt bidding process, and Hakan Saab mentioned that there were some challenges with the tariff, but that was then later removed. Despite raising that bid 3 times, we didn't get any interest in that particular project. Is it worthwhile exploring incentivizing existing IPPs that have remaining PPAs to enter this market? That way you can reduce your electricity tariff as well, and maybe offset some of the capacity payments as well? Thanks.
I forgot the first part of the question. What is it?
Sorry, the first question was, we talked about how the Ministry, Petroleum and Power Division needs to work closely.
Okay, yeah.
So regulator,
Urging the regulators.
Yeah, there was a purpose to do it, but which was to make these 2 divisions talk to each other. The power division is on the 3rd floor, the power is 2nd floor, and I think this petroleum 3rd. They never talk to each other. But they still don't talk to each other, even after the ministry is one, because there are 2 ministers also. So it's been a failure, frankly, if you ask me. I did it, it's a failure. Yeah, the regulators, you don't even have capacity within these separate regulators. How will one person or one regulator manage these 2? It's impossible. So you have to build capacity. And the regulators have to decide what is their purpose in life. If their purpose in life is to inhibit something, they're doing a great job. Both the sectors have gone down, but there's nobody to ask them. There's somebody, you just talked about the solar tariff. We had a bid for 4.9 cents, 10,000 megawatts, if you want to put it up. It's probably still there. But the NEPRA reference tariff was 3.41. So who would accept that 4.9 bid? It was a G2G bid. So again, you have to fix these issues, and you have to deregulate as much as possible. The oil sector needs to be deregulated. And the decision was taken back in 2018 by the cabinet. With the timing to be set by the Petroleum Ministry, it has not happened. We still, every 15 days, we proudly announce we've cut 15 rupees, and then when it goes up 10 rupees, we say, and trust me, if the government gets out of this business, the cost will go down. If you look at the differentiated fuels, the higher end fuels, the 95 octane, the 97 octane, the high end diesel, they follow the market. And sometimes the differential with the government fuel is 5 rupees, today it is 20 rupees. But that's the market, that's what it sells at in the market. So but we are unable to do that. That's what I'm saying. We are unable to take decisions in this country. That's our problem. And again, real estate, don't measure things with real estate. Keep your real estate. Keep all the disco real estate, but get rid of the problem is the disco, it's not running.
Just to touch upon the real estate wala point, because Chai sir mentioned किया, इसीलिए हमने जो केयरटेकर में एक चीज़ शुरू की थी लॉन्ग टर्म कंसेशन, बिकॉज प्राइवेटाइजेशन के अंदर ये इशू आएगा कि रियल एस्टेट की वैल्यूएशन करें. अच्छा, वो रियल एस्टेट का यूसेज सिर्फ और सिर्फ उस डिस्को का उस इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए, तो उसकी कोई बेच तो नहीं सकते ना वो. तो इसीलिए हमने कहा था कि इसको लॉन्ग टर्म कंसेशन पे दें. हमने समझाया कि टर्की ने बहुत सक्सेसफुली किया है. वहाँ पर लॉसेज आज से 15 साल पहले वर अराउंड 30% जो हमारा हाल है, वहाँ आप आ गए 12-13%. So they've done it. You give it to private sector, government comes out of it, and even if you were to sell it, you won't really get any money. तो उसका तो एक मॉडल है हमारे पास, ऐसा भी कह रहे हैं. सेकेंडली जो बिड वाला पॉइंट है, देखें पाकिस्तान में आज की तारीख में सोलर प्लांट लगाने में बहुत इंटरेस्ट है, इसलिए कि यूएई के अंदर अभी सऊदी कंपनी को 2 सेंट के ऊपर उन्होंने दिया. पाकिस्तान 4 सेंट या नॉर्थ ऑफ 4 सेंट्स ही होगा ना. बट व्हाट इज़ रिक्वायर्ड इज़ द टाइमिंग हैज़ टू बी राइट. ग्लोबली जब स्टॉक मार्केट बुरी होती हैं तो उस वक्त तो आप आईपीओ के लिए नहीं जाते ना. अब पाकिस्तान में हम किस वक्त गए बिडिंग के लिए, जब गवर्नमेंट चेंज होने वाली थी. फिर हमने इसको एक्सटेंड किया केयरटेकर के अंदर. उसमें हमने कहा था कि आप ना करें. जब सऊदी, यूएई, कतर, कुवैत, इन गवर्नमेंट्स का इंटरेस्ट है तो टॉक टू देम एंड गेट इट डन, बिकॉज ये नाम ख़राब करने वाली बात होती है. वंस रेपुटेशन इज़ अफेक्टेड फिर बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता है. तो ये चीज़ें वो जो मार्केट के लोग होंगे वो समझ सकते हैं ना इन चीज़ों को. तो आई थिंक वहाँ पर वो इशू था. हैविंग सेड दिस, पाकिस्तान में काफ़ी इंटरेस्ट है. When we were there, तो हमने कुवैत की कंपनी एनर्टेक उससे बात की. They wanted to put up a small plant 50 megawatt. हमने कहा हमें आप बिड बता दें. They gave a 3.99 cents की bid. When we discussed with them कि अगर 600 megawatt लगाना हो, we went to it. They said we will give you around 4 cents. Verbally उन्होंने कहा था. But वो 3.99 बलूचिस्तान का प्लांट तो उन्होंने in writing हमें दे दिया. तो around 4 cents above that आपको बिड मिल जाएगी. लेकिन अब आपको ये सोचना होगा आज की तारीख में कि जो 2400 मेगावाट की बात थी, डू वी वांट टू पुट अप 2400 मेगावाट कंसीडरिंग कि रूफटॉप सोलर इतनी तेजी से लग रहा है. तो वी probably don't need that much at this stage. It has to be planned right, but there is interest and Middle Eastern countries will come because it's a good money making thing for them.
One more thing. Disco privatization, there's already a precedent in Pakistan. It's called K Electric. Over the last 20 years, we've done everything to kill them, but I don't know they still survive. So learn from that. The K Electric does not add to your circular debt. It's that simple. If they were still in government hands, you'd probably look at another 150 billion a year.
Quick last question to Imran Zia Sahab, if you have one. Yeah. Acha, sir, aap, please. Last question.
Mr. Mohammed Ali Sahab, my question is from you. You have said that 75% of our oil import is used for the transport. Is it right? We can also say that the biggest source of emissions for Pakistan, they are the transport people. Okay? Then will you suggest that if we prioritize the electric vehicles, this will help a lot the whole country?
Sorry, if we
Prioritize
The electric vehicles.
Electric vehicles.
EVs.
EVs.
Transition to EV.
जी ट्रांजिशन टू जी बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं आप. मैं आपको नंबर्स दे देता हूँ. देखिए जब आप ऑयल दैट वी इम्पोर्ट व्हेन यू पुट ऑयल डायरेक्टली इनटू द व्हीकल्स, तो जो कन्वर्जन फैक्टर है इज अराउंड 18 to 20% होगा. 13% है. हाँ, तो जो ऑयल आ रहा है वो जो मॉलिक्यूल कन्वर्ट हो रहा है इनटू मैकेनिकल एनर्जी, उसकी एफिशिएंसी जो है वो 15-17% है. ठीक है. यही ऑयल अगर आप पावर प्लांट में डालेंगे और आपके पावर प्लांट की एफिशिएंसी है एलएनजी और जो कोल वाले हैं उनकी 60% है, एंड द पावर प्लांट विल गिव इलेक्ट्रिसिटी टू द व्हीकल्स. दैट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी व्हेन इट गेट्स कन्वर्टेड इनटू मैकेनिकल एनर्जी उसकी एफिशिएंसी 80% है कम से कम. तो 60 into 80 is 48%. तो कहने का मकसद ये है कि अगर आप बिल्कुल सही फरमा रहे हैं, मैं आपको खाली प्रूव कर रहा हूँ विद नंबर्स कि जो ऑयल जो इतना इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं डायरेक्टली व्हीकल्स में डाल रहे हैं, अगर उसको हम राउट कर दें और इलेक्ट्रीफाई कर दें जैसे आप कह रहे हैं, तो आपकी एफिशिएंसी तो होगी 3 गुना, आपका इंपोर्ट बिल भी 3 गुना से कम हो जाएगा ना. तो यस, द सोल्यूशन इज़ दैट. और साथ साथ हमें पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट का सोचना पड़ेगा. इस मुल्क में हमारे पास सड़कें नहीं हैं. आप कराची जाएँ, इवन लाहौर अब जाएँ, सड़कें नहीं हैं, वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कैसे होगा. हम अगर पब्लिक, आप नंबर्स किसी ने नहीं किए, अगर आप इस मुल्क में बड़े शहरों में पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट इंट्रोड्यूस कर दें ईवीज़ के थ्रू, आपकी जो एक्सेस बिजली है आज, पहली बात तो वो इस्तेमाल होना शुरू हो जाएगी. और वो ईवीज़ चलेंगी तो ये 2 व्हीलर्स जो हैं, जो लोग बेचारे फैमिलीज के साथ जाते हैं, उनमें से बहुत सारे लोग शिफ्ट हो जाएंगे. आप और टैरिफ भी आपका कम होगा बिकॉज यू आर ऑलरेडी लूजिंग सो मच मनी इन सर्कुलर डेट विच यू कैन पास ऑन ओवर हियर. सो all of this can happen, but somebody has to study this.
Thank you very much. I think with that, we bring this to an end. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप सबका. Been a very interesting conversation. Thank you.